Hi, I'm Tom Ziglar, CEO of the Zig Ziglar Corporation. Welcome to the Ziglar Coaching Academy. We're talking about life coaching, and we've done something pretty cool. We have actually created what we call the Ziglar Coach Wheel, and we have 7 different spokes on this wheel, and it is something that you as a coach can go through and determine where you are in the growth of your own coaching practice and in the growth of your own coaching ability. And so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share with you 3 of these different spokes on the wheel. I'm going to give you a brief overview so I can show you what's coming, and we're going to go through every one of these in the Ziglar Coaching Academy, so stay tuned. We actually have a PDF that you can download, and you can do this self-assessment and see where you are. But these are all things that are essential to a coach building a successful coaching practice. And so let me talk about the first one here. The first spoke on the wheel is mindset. And I'm going to go through this briefly, and then I'm going to go to the next one and the next one, and then we'll have a part 2, right? So we're going to have another video that will cover the last 4. But in order to have the right mindset, here are the things that you need to do. You got to have the right start to your day. You've probably heard the statement, you win the morning, you win the day, you win the day, you win the week, you win the week, you win the month, you win the month, you win the year. What I've seen by the most powerful coaches, the ones that have the greatest impact, is they walk their talk. So they're starting their day in the right way. And we're going to get into that, what that looks like. You need to embrace a habit. This is number 2. You need to embrace a habit that you don't like, but yet that habit takes you closer to where you want to go, because that does something to your psychology, to your brain, the ICC, the interior cingulate cortex, right? It really develops that. You got to have confidence. See, coaches come with confidence, and you transfer confidence to those that you believe. Now, the challenge is what's great. How do you have confidence? Well, it starts with intention. What is your intention? What is your motive for that person that you are coaching? And then you got to have preparation, because if I show up with intention, my motive is for you, and I prepared for that coaching session, wow, that's something powerful. And then finally is love. I got to speak the truth in love. And we're going to cover each one of these in more detail. And then gratitude. The healthiest of all human emotions is gratitude. Are you grateful for the opportunity to serve people in everywhere you go? And then active listening. That's a skill that we're going to talk about. Trust building. And then you got to be humble and vulnerable. The second spoke that I want to cover today briefly is marketing. Gosh, I know so many coaches that are fantastic, but they don't have enough clients to coach. And so if you're really here to take your coaching to that next level, to build a successful coaching practice, here are some things to think about. Do you have an avatar of who your perfect client is? You got to dig into that. I work with coaches, and a lot of them are like, I want to serve this group of people, and that's amazing, and I love it. Well, great. Are you looking to make a business out of it, or are you looking just to serve that group of people? And the answer they give me tells me a lot about their knowledge and awareness of what's going on. Because if you want to serve mothers, single parents who are struggling to make it, they're not going to have the financial resources as business executives that's who you want to serve. So you got to have your avatar and know how that impacts your business. Do you have a high credibility landing page or website? Something that when somebody says, what do you do? Oh, I'm a coach. Well, how do I find out about you? They got to go there. Do you have compelling copywriting and a message that connects your heart and your passion with the problem you solve and the avatar? Do you have an ability to collect leads from people who come to you and say, hey, tell me more? Do you give them something engaging that they're willing to trade a little bit with you, meaning they'll give you their email or their contact information so that you can continue that conversation? Do you have an easy way for them to book a discovery session or a strategy session with you? Do you use technology, autoresponders, emails, all these things to nurture that relationship? These are important, not because we're just trying to get another client, but because they set you apart as somebody who's serious about what you do. Because at the end of the day, why do we do all these things? So we can have a one-on-one conversation. That's why we do it. Why do we want to have a one-on-one conversation? Because that's where the life change happens. Do you make it easy for people to find you? Do you know your IPAs, income producing activities? That might be like 3 or 4 lessons down the road. So an IPA, it's not a beer. I always smile when I say that. It's an income producing activity. So when you think of your own coaching practice as a life coach, what are the things that you do every day that help you build that practice? And do you make a game out of it? And finally, are you ready if somebody on an elevator says, tell me what you do? Or are you ready if your friend at the Rotary or the Chamber or the Lunch and Learn or the association meeting, or maybe a little bit bigger audience, hey, can you come and do your keynote for 20, 30 minutes, 45 minutes that shares with people choices they can make that'll change their life? Are you ready to give that presentation? Because if you are, wow, that's a powerful thing. More people build coaching practices off of great presentations because you get to show people the journey. You get to say, this is where the problem that people solve, and this is how, 3 steps that you can overcome it. And by the way, I've dedicated my life to this. I'm a coach, and I help people through that. So that's the second spoke today. The final one that I wanted to cover in this segment, we'll cover the next ones in the next segment, is the process. Do you have a coaching process that you take somebody through? And the reason I say this, Stephen Covey said this. He said, listen to understand, not to respond. Listen to understand, not to respond. And coaches who have a coaching process can go all in, listening from the heart. And so we use a tool called Zig GPT. It's simply one of our tools that we equip all of our coaches with. It plugs into ChatGPT, and it allows our coaches to take a conversation, a coaching session, download it, transcribe it, prompt it, do all the stuff. And that allows that coach to really focus in and listen during the coaching conversation because they got a perfect memory now. And then we do, with our coaches, we say, hey, are you practicing a mental model? So before you have a conversation with somebody, are you planning 60 seconds? How is that going to go? Do you, in your process, do you go through a series of things every time you coach? Like, for example, what are your wins? How have you grown? Are you holding them accountable to what they've already done? Do you have a discovery process question where you kind of opens up and reveals the heart? And then when you understand what that person really wants, you step back and you say, what insight does that give you? And now what choice are you going to make? And then if you make a choice, what action does that look like? And what's your commitment to that? And then finally, when you add all these things together, you can see that coaching is much more than just a heartfelt conversation. Coaching is a transference of confidence, as our head coach David Wright says. It is pouring into someone that belief that they can be, do, and have more than they thought possible. But it's not just an idea or a hope. There's a plan that goes with it. And when you follow these things that I just discussed, the first 3 spokes in the coach's wheel, you're setting yourself up for success. And why do you want to be successful? Because success is measured in the difference that you make in other people's lives. That's what it's all about. Thank you for joining us on this lesson. Later on, we're going to go into detail on each one of these things I just pointed out. I just wanted to give you an overview of what we look at. Because when you embrace these things as a coach, you are on a journey that's going to give you more joy and satisfaction than you can imagine. If you like what you heard today, like this, leave comments below, share it with your friends, other people who are either looking for a coach or who want to become a certified coach. We'd love you to join the Ziglar Coaching family, but we also love to serve coaches wherever you are. So thank you for being a part of this. We'll see you next time.